Are you noticing that everyone you seem to be around is running a successful business except for you? And that you've got the vision, the drive, maybe even the very cute Canva logo, but deep down, something is missing. You're not feeling seen, you're not getting paid, and you're wondering, what am I even doing, right? So I have a hot take. You don't want a successful business. You want to be visible. So here's the truth, my friends. And I've been thinking a lot about this. Starting a business is one thing, but keeping it running is a whole different ballgame. Honestly, it really is. Trust me, I know. Now, 80% of small businesses survive the first year, but only 50% make it to 5 years. And in the long run, fewer than 20% stay in for that long term, long haul. So you're wondering, well, why is that? And I really honestly, in doing a lot of the research and talking to people and reading things, it's not just about having a great idea, because great ideas are awesome. And it's not just about not trying hard enough, because trust me, I know a lot of entrepreneurs that work so hard and they didn't make it. It's usually because people have no clients, they don't have a cash flow, and no strategy. These are the three components, in my experience and based on everything that I've been reading, why people don't tend to have a successful business for the long run. Now, most of the time, that not having clients and cash flow is because there's really poor marketing strategy. Your messaging is super scattered. And let's be honest, thinking that owning a business will feel more exciting than it does is not going to get you there. I know, because here's the unsexy truth. Honestly, building a business is boring sometimes. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how boring it is. Sometimes I come and I'm like, oh, I got to do that again. I'm a freaking Enneagram 7. So boring is not fun for me, but I have learned that being a business owner, being the CEO of my business and of my life means that I have to do repetitive tasks. I have to be boring and be okay, because being boring and owning a business go hand in hand. Also, you have to understand that it's going to be really messy. It's not going to be like a walk in the park. And ultimately, owning a business and all of these actions that you're taking require consistency and a real plan, not just vibes. We all start, we're gone ho, and the vibe is good because I'm going to do this, and we jump in. But let me tell you, that's not going to cut it. Now, here's another stat that I read: 78% of women believe entrepreneurship is a great path. And my friend, if you're a woman, we need more entrepreneurs. However, 80% of those women that go in the path of entrepreneurship, think about it, 80% of the women that go into entrepreneurship do so for the status, for the social perks, because it looks really cool. It looks cool to be successful. And let me tell you, ultimately, from someone that's been in the limelight with a TED Talk and a book, a podcast, visibility isn't bad. Not at all. But chasing visibility for validation, or that's the trap we have to avoid. And by the way, I tell this to myself all the time because I am my best client. So if you're someone who does not make money and does want to create real impact, you've come to the right place. I'm so glad. You can have your cake and eat it too. And that is chef's kiss. But you need to do this in a very sustainable way, and you need to remember that it's not just about the dream. You're going to need a GPS, you're going to need a roadmap that accounts for real life, because at the end of the day, life is lifing, my friends. I've become a caretaker for my mom in the last few months, and life hasn't stopped. I've been in the emergency room twice in the last 7 months. Not to mention, right, taking on additional responsibilities, which I do wholeheartedly. I am so glad that I have this opportunity to build a relationship with my mom, to have her here. But I'm going to tell you, As a business owner, I'm grateful that I have the freedom and flexibility, but life is lifing. So having that GPS, having that plan, has been the thing that has kept me going and has kept my income sustainable. Now, I have talked about SMART goals, and a lot of people talk about SMART goals. And if you don't know what they are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. And, for most of my life, SMART goals work, okay, let me set up the goal. I want to, build a business and I want to get to $100,000 a year. Okay, well, that's specific. And I want to do it within the next 2 years. That's measurable. And is it attainable? Of course it is if you have the right offers. And is it relevant to what I want? Of course. This is what I do for a living. And am I going to do it right in that attainable time bound? Yes. But today, what I've noticed, and really there was a piece missing from me. And finally, I found something totally brand new, and it goes deeper, specifically for entrepreneurs like me who face real emotional, mental, and habitual locks. I am a tiny habits coach, and habits are important. And when it comes to what we do every day, sometimes that's what gets in the way of actually staying consistent in our work toward our SMART goals. So here's the thing that I found. Okay. It's called WOOP, like whoop, there it is. This is a science backed framework, and it's developed by I believe she's from NYU, a psychologist, Gabriele Oettingen. Oettingen. Oh, okay. Well, my kryptonite last names. But it helps you, this whole method of WOOP, it helps you to bridge the gap between what you want and what you actually have to do to get there. Because if we want this, there's a lot of stuff that needs to get us there. But this method is going to bridge it in a way that it makes it easier for you. Now, WOOP, right? What does that stand for? WOOP. It stands for wish. So let's think about, what is your wish? What is your big, audacious goal? Now, what is the best result if that goal comes to pass, if you achieve the goal? So, wish, and what is the outcome? What is going to happen if you achieve the goal? Now, ask yourself, when you understand what that dream, what that big wish is, and what the outcome is when you achieve that, you need to ask yourself, what is going to be the obstacle that might get in the way, whether it be emotionally and emotional, habitually, again, are your habits going to get in the way from getting there? Or logistically, maybe you don't have the support, or perhaps, emotionally, you're just exhausted and need a break. So plan for the obstacles. Perfect previous planning prevents problems. My dad would say that to me ad nauseum, but I say that in my business all the time. So really figuring out not only what you want, but what you're going to get when you get it, but really understanding what may trip you up, your obstacles. Clear. You need to call those out. Now, plan. That's what the P stands for. WOOP. And P, what's your next move, my friend? What's up? When obstacles show up, when hits the fan, what are you going to do to clean it up? What are you going to do to move from that? And unlike a lot of the fluffy things that you hear, and by the way, I'm a woo girl, and I do it. I manifest. I look and say, okay, I money comes easily and frequently to me. However, you do have to do more than that. And whoop, it's going to bring mindset, motivation, and the reality together. And guess what? People who use whoop are more successful long term because it accounts for real life, real emotions, and the resistance that we feel. So, ambition plus action equals whoop, success. God, I know this is so corny. Anyway, I I want to close with something. I want to leave you with this. Okay. Again, this is something that I've been calling kind of mulling over, because not only am I helping entrepreneurs grow and build a business, I'm helping them be visible, and I'm also helping them build that podcast, get out there. But at the end of the day, we all have to ask ourselves, right? Am I building a business or am I performing one? So, Julie, what do you mean by that? Am I building a business or am I performing one? Well, I'm not performing. I have a bank account and I have a client and I know what I'm doing. Well, here's the thing. Are you in front of people for the visibility or the validation? And because visibility, when it's real, when it's aligned, when it's magnetic, when you have it, right? You're in front of people. It is essential for your business. That visibility is check, check, check. Some of the stuff that you've got to do. And for introverts, I know that that is hard. However, people find you and trust you because they saw you, they heard you. That's visibility, right? Attraction and engagement. Now, validation comes to be a little trickier because what I see is that a lot of time we're thinking, oh, I'm being visible, I'm putting myself out there. But you're not. You're putting yourself out there because you want the validation. Let's think about that validation. It's trickier if your business is built to impress others. If your business is there because you want to prove your worth, you're going to burn out. And I think that for me in the very beginning, I wanted to tell people how great I was. Look at me. And yes, was I having, did I have a purpose? Of course, I had a purpose. Did I have a dream? Of course. But I also did not understand the difference between that visibility and the validation. And now, when I'm in front of the camera, when I am in a podcast, when I am a guest in somebody else's show, or I am working on a second book, all of that comes because of the visibility and because I believe that when I'm in front of the people that need me, I can change their lives. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. But if I am there because I like to get the congratulations or the accolades or whatever comes with that validation, then it's not going to be sustainable. When life lives, it's going to fall apart. And that roadmap that we have with a whoop whoop, it's not going to get us anywhere. It's going to definitely be something that will sit around and be like, okay, another failure. So let's think about doing the work that matters, building our lives with the right type of momentum that, because when we do that, then things just happen, right? If we show up and we do the thing and we're unsexy doing the boring stuff, then we are going to see traction. Consistent action gets you traction. And that means you have to ask yourself, what are the things I'm not willing to do? And what are the things that I am doing that maybe I'm not doing because it's moving me forward, right? I'm inconsistent with my efforts. So it's going to sound terrible, but quit performing. Build something real. It's so worth it. When you get the call from someone that says, thank you, what you did for me changed my life, that matters. When you see that the woman who doubted herself is all of a sudden able to have an income that helps her family, that's worth it. But that required me to spend a lot of time in the messy middle and the boring and the consistently and having a clear understanding of what I wished to accomplish. Why? How was I going to feel? What was that going to be like when I accomplish a successful business? And also understanding that those obstacles were going to come my way and really knowing, right, that when the obstacles come your way, I needed to have a plan, a contingency, a second, a plan B. So I'd love to hear from you. How are you building something real? How are you becoming visible, profitable, and completely align with you? not the validation from others. And I'd love for you to tell me in the comments and let me know specifically, what are you doing to become visible? What are you doing that is boring in your business, that is getting you traction? And maybe if you're struggling with something, let me know. I do have a tool that you may want to also download because this was very helpful. It's called the Passion to Profit Roadmap. And again, this roadmap is going to help you be able to just incorporate a little bit of the concepts of the WOOP method in there to really be able to outline something that you're going to be able to attain and feel incredibly proud of. So I I love this. I love this conversation. Let's keep it going. And I'd love for you to share this episode with someone who may need to hear this. And until next time, my friend, don't forget, go confidently in the direction of your dreams.